really hurt.
I always suspected something. This is awful.
I used to think marriage was a team sport. Turns out I was the mascot, entertaining, mostly ignored, and easily replaced when the real players wanted to have their fun. My name is Nick Fenwick, and I'm 33 years old. I manage IT projects for a financial firm in downtown Boston, which means I spend my days making sure other people's systems don't crash, while my own life apparently was doing exactly that. I have what you might call a dry sense of humor, the kind that makes people uncomfortable at dinner parties. My wife Erica used to say it was charming, past tense being the operative phrase here. It was a Tuesday evening in October when everything changed. I remember because Tuesday was our designated date night at home, Erica's idea to reconnect after she'd been working late for 3 months straight, or so she claimed. I was setting the table in our sleek Boston condo, the one we'd bought together 6 months earlier in the trendy South End. The place still smelled like fresh paint and broken dreams, though I didn't know about the latter part yet. Erica walked in from the bedroom, her blonde hair perfectly styled, despite supposedly just getting home from work. She had that look on her face, the one she got when she was about to deliver what she called difficult news in her PR executive voice. "Nick, we need to talk," she said, sitting across from me at our expensive dining table, the one her mother had insisted we buy because presentation matters, Nicholas. I looked up from my pasta. That's never a good way to start date night. She fidgeted with her phone, which was unusual. Erica never fidgeted. She was the kind of woman who gave presentations to Fortune 500 companies without breaking a sweat. Watching her squirm was like seeing a shark get nervous about swimming. "I need to tell you something, and I need you to promise you won't get angry." Well, now I'm definitely going to get angry. That's like saying, "Don't think about elephants." All I can think about now are elephants. Big, angry elephants. She didn't laugh. Erica always laughed at my jokes, even the bad ones, especially the bad ones. "I made a mistake," she said, still clutching her phone. "Last weekend when I said I was at the office working on the Henderson campaign, I wasn't. I was with Austin. Austin Drake, her ex-boyfriend from college, the personal trainer with the Instagram account and the IQ of a protein shake. I'd met him exactly once, at Erica's company party last year. He'd spent 20 minutes explaining his fitness philosophy while flexing his biceps at every woman within a 10-foot radius. "Define with," I said, taking another bite of pasta. My voice was steady, but my mind was already racing through possibilities, none of them good. "We just talked, about old times, and then," she held up her phone, "he kissed me, just once, but someone took a video." Before we deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible Reddit stories. She turned the screen toward me. There was Austin, all 6 feet of manufactured charm, pressing his lips against my wife's mouth in what looked like the parking lot of some upscale gym. The timestamp showed last Saturday, 3:47 p.m., right around the time she'd texted me about working late on urgent client revisions. I watched the 10-second clip twice, then I set down my fork and looked at her. "Just a kiss," I said. "Just a kiss." "In a parking lot?" "Yes. After lying to me about working." "I didn't lie. I just didn't tell you everything." I nodded slowly, like I was processing this information. Inside, my mind was doing something between calculating and combusting. "Who took the video?" "I don't know. Austin thinks it was his ex-girlfriend, Liv. She's been harassing him on social media since they broke up." "Harassing him how?" "Posting screenshots of their text conversations. Calling him out for cheating, typical bitter ex stuff." I almost laughed. The irony was so thick you could serve it with marinara sauce. "So let me understand this," I said, standing up and walking to the kitchen. You lied to me about working late so you could meet up with your ex-boyfriend, who then kissed you while his other ex-girlfriend filmed it, and now you're worried about the video. When you put it like that, it sounds worse than it is. I opened the junk drawer and pulled out the lighter we kept for candles. Then I walked back to the table and sat down, placing the lighter next to my plate. You're right, I said. It does sound worse when you include all the facts. I reached into my jacket pocket and pulled out 2 airline tickets. First-class tickets to Paris, non-refundable, scheduled for next weekend. I'd bought them that morning as a surprise for our second wedding anniversary next month. $2,000 of romantic gesture, paid for with money from our joint savings account. Erica's eyes widened. Nick, what are those? Our anniversary trip, I said, picking up the lighter. Or rather, what used to be our anniversary trip. Nick, don't... I flicked the lighter and held the flame to the corner of the tickets. They caught immediately, the expensive paper curling and blackening as the fire consumed our planned romantic getaway. Nick, stop! Those cost... $2,000, I finished, letting the burning tickets drop onto my dinner plate. From our joint account. The same account you've been using to fund your little reunion tour. Erica stared at the ashes of our Paris trip, her mouth opening and closing like a fish out of water. You're being dramatic. Am I? I pulled out my phone and opened the camera app. Say that again, for the record. What are you doing? Documenting your apology. For our friends and family. You know, the people who think we're happily married. Nick, put the phone away. But I was already recording. This is Erica Fenwick, my wife of 2 years, explaining why she lied to me about working late so she could kiss her ex-boyfriend in a gym parking lot. Go ahead, honey. Tell them about the mistake. Stop recording me! Why? You didn't seem camera shy in Austin's video. She lunged for my phone, but I was faster. Years of dodging flying objects during her passionate discussions had given me decent reflexes. I'm sorry, she said, tears starting to form. It was just a kiss. It didn't mean anything. Say that to the camera. I'm sorry it didn't mean anything? No, say you're sorry for lying to your husband so you could make out with your ex-boyfriend. Her face went red. It wasn't making out. Fine. Say you're sorry for lying to your husband so you could kiss your ex-boyfriend after telling him you were working late. She looked directly into the camera, her PR training kicking in despite her emotional state. I'm sorry for lying to Nick about working late. I met with Austin and he kissed me. It was a mistake, and it won't happen again. I stopped recording and immediately opened my contacts. Great. Let's share the good news. Nick, what are you doing? Sending this to your mother, and mine, and your sister, and oops. I held up the phone. Looks like I accidentally sent it to your entire contact list. These new phones are so sensitive. The color drained from her face. You didn't. I did. Though in my defense, it was an accident. I was aiming for just family, but my finger slipped. Technology, right? My phone started buzzing immediately. Text messages, calls, social media notifications. The video was already making its rounds through our social circle, spreading like wildfire through the interconnected web of friends, family, and professional contacts that made up our Boston life. Erica's phone started ringing. The caller ID showed Tasha, her best friend, and the biggest gossip in our extended social group. Don't answer that, I said. I have to. She's probably worried. She's probably thrilled. This is the kind of drama Tasha lives for. But Erica was already answering. Tasha, I can explain... I couldn't hear Tasha's response, but I could see Erica's face getting paler by the second. It's not what it looks like, Erica said into the phone. Well, okay, it's exactly what it looks like, but it doesn't mean what you think it means. I stood up and grabbed my jacket. I'm going to Jay's bar. When you're done managing your crisis, we can talk about what happens next. Nick, please don't leave. We need to figure this out together. Together? I paused at the door. Like how we figured out your work schedule together? Or how we figured out your relationship with Austin together? She was still on the phone with Tasha, trying to do damage control while tears ran down her perfectly made-up face. For a moment, I almost felt sorry for her. Almost. "The thing about burning bridges, Erica," I said, opening the door, "is that sometimes the guy on the other side has the matches." I left her there, surrounded by the ashes of our Paris tickets and the wreckage of her carefully constructed image. My phone was still buzzing with messages, but I ignored them. I had some thinking to do, and Jay's bar was the perfect place for it. As I walked down the hallway, I could hear Mrs. Ortega's door crack open behind me. Our nosy neighbor never missed an opportunity to gather intelligence on the building's residents. By tomorrow morning, she'd have the whole story spread through the building's group chat. The elevator ride down felt longer than usual. When the doors opened in the lobby, I saw a familiar figure waiting by the mailboxes. Austin Drake, still in his gym clothes, looking like he'd rather be anywhere else in the world. "Nick," he said, straightening up, "we need to talk." I looked at him for a long moment. 6 feet tall, perfectly sculpted, the kind of guy who took selfies at the gym and called it motivation. Standing next to him was an older woman I recognized from Erica's social media posts, her mother, Mrs. Carmichael. "Nicholas," Mrs. Carmichael said in her crisp, judgmental tone, "I think there's been a misunderstanding." I looked at Austin, then at Mrs. Carmichael, then back at Austin. "You know what? I think you're right. I misunderstood a lot of things, but I'm a quick learner." The elevator doors started to close, but Austin stuck his hand out to stop them. "We should go upstairs," he said. "Work this out like adults." I smiled. It wasn't a nice smile. "Oh, we're definitely going to work this out. But not tonight. Tonight I'm going to have a drink and think about all the ways I've been underestimated." I pushed the button for the garage level, and this time I let the doors close. As the elevator descended, I could hear Mrs. Carmichael's voice echoing in the lobby. "That boy always was dramatic. Erica deserves better." She was right about one thing. Erica did deserve better. She deserved exactly what was coming to her. Jay's Tavern sat wedged between a dry cleaner and a convenience store on a side street that most people drove past without noticing. It was the kind of place where the beer was cold, the lighting was dim, and nobody asked questions about why you looked like your life had just exploded. Jay Morrison had been my best friend since college, back when we were both convinced we'd change the world with our brilliant ideas and unlimited optimism. Now he managed a bar, and I managed other people's computer problems, but we still met here every Thursday to solve the world's problems over cheap beer and expensive whiskey. Tonight was Tuesday, but Jay took one look at my face and poured me a double bourbon without asking. "Let me guess," he said, sliding the glass across the scarred wooden bar. "Erica finally got caught." I looked at him. "What do you mean, finally?" Jay was wiping down glasses with a towel that had seen better decades, moving with the casual rhythm of someone who'd spent too many years behind the same counter. He looked exactly the same as he had in college, thin, sarcastic, with dark hair that never quite stayed where it was supposed to go. The kind of guy time forgot, except for the faint lines at the corners of his eyes that told the real story. "Nick, buddy," he said, shaking his head with that half-smile that could be both sympathetic and mocking at once. "I've been watching you two for months. She's been acting weird, working late constantly, always checking her phone, jumping like she's in a spy thriller every time someone texts. Either she was having an affair or planning to overthrow the government. Why didn't you say anything?" He snorted. "Would you have believed me?" I thought about that as I swirled the bourbon in my glass. The amber light caught the rim, reflecting across the bar's scarred surface. "Probably not," I admitted. "Exactly." He set the glass he'd been polishing back on the shelf and leaned against the counter. "So what happened?" I told him everything. The video, the confession, the Paris tickets, and the accidental broadcast that had turned my private humiliation into the internet's entertainment for the night. Jay listened with rapt attention, eyebrows climbing higher with each new detail. By the time I finished, he was grinning like he'd just hit the jackpot. You sent her apology video to her entire contact list? My finger slipped. Your finger slipped right onto the send to all contacts button? Technology is unpredictable, I said dryly. Jay laughed, loud, sharp, and full of disbelief. It was the first genuine laugh I'd heard all day. That's the most beautiful accident in the history of accidents. Do you have any idea what you just did? Ruined my marriage? No, you idiot. You just won it. I gave him a look. That's an interesting definition of winning. He gestured with the bar towel like a conductor's baton. Nick, buddy, you turned the script on them. They thought they could keep the lie neat and private, something controllable. You just blew it wide open. The truth's out, and everyone's seeing it for what it is. That's not losing. That's scorched earth victory. My phone buzzed again, the screen lighting up like a slot machine. I'd been ignoring messages for hours, but curiosity finally broke through. I scrolled through the flood of notifications. Erica's sister. OMG, is this real? My mother. Nicholas. Call me immediately. Erica's coworker. Girl, I am so sorry. Men are trash. My brother. Dude, what the hell? And then, buried among the chaos, a message from a number I didn't recognize. Hey, this is Liv, Austin's ex. We should talk. I showed the screen to Jay. Austin's ex-girlfriend wants to chat. The one who took the video? Apparently. He dropped the towel onto the counter. Answer it. Right now. I hesitated, thumb hovering over the screen. Isn't that a little vindictive? Jay gave me a look that could curdle milk. Nick, your wife just confessed to cheating on you with her ex-boyfriend. She lied to you for months. She made you look like a fool in front of everyone you know. He leaned closer, lowering his voice. And you're worried about being vindictive? I didn't answer right away. The bourbon burned on the way down, and for the first time, it felt good. Maybe Jay was right. Maybe being vindictive was just another way of calling things what they were. I set the glass down, picked up my phone, and typed, All right, Liv, I'm listening. He had a point. I typed back, I'm at Jay's Tavern on Marlborough Street. Come by if you want to talk. The response came back immediately. On my way. Order me a wine, something expensive. 20 minutes later, Liv Martinez walked into Jay's Tavern like she owned the place. She was petite, with dark hair, and the kind of confidence that came from knowing exactly how attractive she was. She wore jeans and a leather jacket, and when she smiled at me, I understood why Austin had been stupid enough to cheat on her. You must be Nick, she said, sliding onto the bar stool next to mine. I've heard so much about you. All bad, I assume. Actually, no. Austin used to complain that Erica wouldn't shut up about how smart you were, how you were too good for her. His words, not mine. Jay poured her a glass of the most expensive wine we had, which wasn't saying much, but Liv didn't seem to mind. So, she said, taking a sip, how much do you know about your wife's relationship with my ex-boyfriend? Apparently less than I thought. Liv pulled out her phone and scrolled through what looked like hundreds of screenshots. Austin's not very good at covering his tracks. He's also not very good at remembering which lies he's told to which women. She showed me the screen. Text messages between Austin and Erica dating back 3 months. Austin, can't wait to see you tomorrow. Nick working late again? Erica, always. He's so predictable. Same routine every day. Austin, poor guy has no idea what he's missing. Erica, what he doesn't know won't hurt him. I felt something cold settle in my stomach. How many of these do you have? Hundreds. They've been planning these meetings for months. Hotels, her apartment when you were traveling, his place, the gym after hours. That kiss in the parking lot? That wasn't their first time together. Jay leaned over to look at the phone. Jesus, Nick, this wasn't just a kiss. Liv scrolled to another conversation, this one from 2 weeks ago. Erica, Nick bought tickets to Paris for our anniversary. So sweet and clueless. Austin. Are you going to tell him about us? Erica. Why would I do that? I can have both. He pays the bills. You make me feel alive. Austin. What if he finds out? Erica. He won't. Nick sees what he wants to see. Always has. I finished my bourbon in one gulp. Show me more. For the next hour, Liv walked me through months of deception. Photos, text messages, social media posts that told a completely different story than the one I'd been living. While I'd been working late to pay for our condo and planning romantic surprises, Erica had been conducting a full-blown affair with Austin. The worst part wasn't the cheating. It was the contempt. The way they talked about me like I was some kind of useful pet. Loyal, predictable, and completely oblivious. Why are you showing me this? I asked Liv. Because Austin destroyed my life when he cheated on me with your wife. He told everyone I was crazy, jealous, making things up. He made me look like a fool. So, this is revenge. This is justice. And also revenge. I'm complicated. My phone rang. Erica's ringtone, wedding march, in electronic beeps. The irony wasn't lost on me. Answer it, Jay said. Put it on speaker. I swiped to accept the call. Hello, Erica. Nick, thank God. Where are you? We need to talk about damage control. Tasha says the video is all over social media. My boss is asking questions. My mother is having a panic attack. Sounds like you have a lot to manage. We have a lot to manage. This affects both of us. Liv was grinning, gesturing for me to keep talking. You're right, I said. This does affect both of us. For instance, I just learned some interesting things about your work schedule over the past few months. Silence on the other end. Nick, what do you mean? I mean, I know about the hotels, and Austin's apartment, and the gym after hours. I know about all of it, Erica. More silence. Then, who told you that? Does it matter? The question is, what are we going to do about it? Nick, I can explain. No need. I understand perfectly. You wanted to have both, the stable husband who pays the bills and the exciting boyfriend who makes you feel alive. Very efficient. It's not like that. It's exactly like that. I have the text messages to prove it. I could hear her breathing getting faster. What text messages? The ones where you call me predictable and clueless. The ones where you laugh about lying to me. The ones where you plan your next hotel visit while I'm working late to pay for our life together. Nick, please. Come home. We can work this out. You know what's funny? I said, looking at Liv, who was practically bouncing with excitement. You were right about one thing. I am predictable. But you made one crucial miscalculation. What's that? You assumed predictable meant stupid. I hung up and turned to Liv. What else do you have? She smiled. Oh, honey, we're just getting started. Over the next 2 hours, Liv and I planned what she called Operation Transparency. If Erica wanted to live a double life, we'd help her by making both lives very, very public. We started with social media. Liv had been collecting evidence for months, waiting for the right moment to expose Austin's cheating. Now she had a partner in crime and a much bigger audience. I created a new Instagram account called Boston Truth Teller and started posting screenshots of Austin and Erica's text conversations, along with photos they'd taken together at various hotels and restaurants around the city. Each post was carefully captioned with timestamps and locations, creating a timeline of deception that was impossible to deny. Within an hour, the posts were being shared across Boston's interconnected social media landscape. Erica's PR colleagues, Austin's gym clients, our mutual friends, and complete strangers were all getting a front-row seat to the collapse of my marriage. My phone started ringing constantly. Erica, her mother, her sister, my mother, my brother, and at least a dozen mutual friends who wanted to know if the posts were real. I ignored them all. You know, Jay said, refilling my glass, I've never seen you like this before. Like what? Ruthless, It's kind of terrifying. Liv laughed. He's not ruthless yet. Wait until tomorrow. What happens tomorrow? She pulled up Austin's Instagram account on her phone. He had over 50,000 followers, mostly women who followed him for workout tips and shirtless selfies. His latest post, from this morning, showed him at the gym with the caption, "Tuesday motivation. Remember, champions never give up. Fitness life. Never settle. Champion mindset." Tomorrow, Liv said, Austin's followers are going to learn exactly what kind of champion he really is. I looked at the post, then at Liv, then at Jay. For the first time in months, I felt like I was exactly where I was supposed to be. "You know what?" I said, raising my glass. "I think I'm going to enjoy being unpredictable." We drank to that, and to the beautiful destruction that was just getting started. My phone buzzed one more time, a text from Erica. "Nick, please come home. I'm scared." I showed it to Liv and Jay. "Are you going?" Jay asked. I looked at the message for a long moment, then deleted it without responding. "No," I said. "I'm not going home. Not tonight. Tonight, I was going to stay right here and plan tomorrow's surprises." After all, I had months of lies to uncover, and Erica was right about one thing. I was very, very predictable. I always finished what I started. I woke up the next morning on Jay's couch with a headache, a stiff neck, and 17 missed calls from Erica. The apartment above the bar was small and cluttered, but it had one major advantage. It wasn't my condo, which meant I didn't have to face my lying wife before I'd had coffee and figured out my next move. Jay was already up, making breakfast and scrolling through his phone. "You need to see this," he said, handing me the device. The Boston Truth Teller Instagram account had exploded overnight. What started with a few hundred views had turned into thousands. The posts were being shared, commented on, and screenshot across multiple platforms. Erica's professional network was in full gossip mode, and Austin's fitness followers were having a field day roasting their supposedly motivational trainer for being a cheater. But the real entertainment was in the comments section. "OMG, I know this girl. She works at Hartwell PR. Wait, isn't this the guy who's always posting about integrity and commitment? LOL. I feel so bad for the husband. He seems really sweet. Plot twist. The husband is the one posting all this. Savage." That last comment had over 200 likes. "They figured it out pretty fast," Jay said, pouring coffee. "Does it matter?" "Not really. The damage is done. Check your phone." I scrolled through my missed calls and text messages. Most were from family members and friends wanting to know what was happening, but a few stood out. Erica's boss, Mr. Phelps. "Nick, I need to speak with you about Erica's situation. This is affecting our client relationships." My brother Tom. "Dude, are you okay? Mom's freaking out, but honestly, this is epic." And then, buried in the middle, a message that made me smile. "Nick, this is Tasha. We need to talk. There's more you should know." Tasha Williams had been Erica's best friend since college. She was also the biggest gossip in Boston, with a network of connections that would make the CIA jealous. If Tasha wanted to talk, it meant she had information worth sharing. I called her back. "Nick, thank God," she said, answering on the first ring. "Are you somewhere we can meet privately?" "Depends. Are you Team Erica or Team Truth?" "Honey, I've been waiting for someone to expose your wife for years. She's been treating you like garbage, and frankly, most of us are impressed you finally grew a spine." "Most of us?" "The girls. We've been talking about this all night. Erica's been bragging about her situation with Austin for months. She thought she was so clever, having her cake and eating it too." I felt that cold sensation in my stomach again. "She told you about the affair?" "She told everyone about the affair. Girls' night out, wine tastings, weekend brunches. She couldn't stop talking about how exciting it was, how Austin made her feel young again, how you were such a good provider but so boring in comparison." And nobody thought to mention this to me? Nick, we barely know you. Erica keeps her marriage and her social life completely separate. You're like this mysterious figure who pays for things and occasionally appears at parties. I looked at Jay, who was listening to my side of the conversation with growing amazement. What did you want to tell me? I asked Tasha. Meet me at the Starbucks on Newberry Street in an hour. And Nick, bring a notebook. You're going to want to write this down. An hour later, I was sitting across from Tasha in a crowded coffee shop, watching her scroll through months of text messages, photos, and social media posts that painted a picture of my marriage that was even worse than I'd imagined. Tasha was a tall, elegant woman in her early 30s who worked in marketing for a tech company. She had the kind of polished appearance that came from having money and knowing how to use it, but her expression was pure vindictive joy. Okay, she said, pulling out a folder. Let's start with the basics. The affair with Austin has been going on for 4 months, not 3. It started when she joined his gym. She told me she joined for the convenient location. She joined because she saw his Instagram and thought he was hot. She literally said, "I'm going to have that trainer," like he was a piece of exercise equipment. Tasha showed me screenshots of text conversations between Erica and various friends, all of them discussing her project of seducing Austin. Here's where it gets interesting, Tasha continued. About 6 weeks ago, Erica started talking about divorce. Not because she was unhappy, but because she wanted to see how much money she could get from you. Tasha's jaw tightened, and for a moment, she didn't say anything. The only sound in the cafe was the low hum of the espresso machine and the steady clink of spoons against porcelain. When she finally spoke, her voice was steady, but her eyes burned. She happened, Tasha said. Erica. I waited, watching her swirl her coffee slowly, the motion deliberate, controlled. 2 days before the final interviews, she continued, I got a call from HR. They'd received an anonymous email claiming I'd been using company resources for personal projects, consulting work on the side. You didn't. Of course not. I'm careful, Nick. You know that. I did. Tasha was one of those people who double-checked everything, emails, receipts, deadlines. She didn't even jaywalk. So what happened? I lost the promotion, she said flatly. They said they couldn't take the risk while the allegations were being reviewed. I kept my job, but the position went to someone else. I frowned. And you think Erica was behind it? I know she was. I traced the email header back to her office IP. I'm not stupid. Tasha took a deep breath, her composure cracking just slightly. When I confronted her about it, she smiled. She actually smiled. Said it was nothing personal, that she just couldn't risk me being too busy for her wedding planning that week. I felt a sharp, bitter taste rise in my mouth. Jesus. She's poison, Nick, Tasha said, her tone turning cold. She doesn't care who she hurts as long as she gets what she wants. I put up with it because I thought she was my friend. But after what she did to you, after seeing how she's been playing both you and Austin like it's some kind of game, I couldn't stay quiet anymore. I sat back, staring at the email chain she'd handed me, the proof of what I'd probably known deep down for weeks. Erica hadn't just betrayed me, she'd orchestrated everything like a business transaction. The emails with the lawyer, I said slowly. She mentioned settlement terms? Tasha nodded. She asked about spousal support, division of assets, how to protect her primary residence. She's positioning herself as the victim, claims you're emotionally unstable, that she's been walking on eggshells. I gave a short, humorless laugh. Emotionally unstable. That's rich. She's setting up the narrative before you can, Tasha said. If you don't act fast, she's going to own the story, and the sympathy that comes with it. I looked up from the papers, the edges crumpled in my hands from how tightly I'd been gripping them. Then it's time I write my own version. Tasha studied me for a moment. What are you going to do? I'm going to make sure when the truth comes out, she can't hide behind her lies. Not with her friends, not with her lawyer, and definitely not in court. A small, approving smile curved at the corner of Tasha's mouth. Good. About time someone beat her at her own game. I gathered the papers, folded them neatly, and slid them into my jacket. My pulse had steadied. The earlier anger had cooled into something sharper, calmer, a sense of purpose. She thinks she's the one pulling the strings, I said quietly. But she's about to find out she's been tangled in her own web the whole time. She slept with my boss at the company Christmas party. Then she told him I'd been talking trash about the company on social media. I lost the promotion, and she thought it was hilarious. Jesus. She's a sociopath, Nick. A charming, beautiful sociopath who's been playing all of us for years. The difference is you have the power to do something about it. I looked at the folder of evidence Tasha had compiled. Screenshots, emails, photos, witness statements from mutual friends who were tired of watching Erica manipulate everyone around her. What do you suggest? Tasha smiled. I suggest we give her exactly what she's been planning for. A very public, very messy divorce. Except this time, she won't be controlling the narrative. That afternoon, I went to Austin's gym. The Fitness Elite was one of those upscale places where people paid premium prices to work out in front of mirrors while wearing designer athletic wear. Austin was in his element here, strutting around in tight shorts and a tank top that showed off his artificially enhanced physique. I'd never been inside before, but I'd done my research. The gym had over 300 members, most of them young professionals with active social media accounts. It was the perfect audience for what I had planned. I walked up to the front desk and asked to speak with Austin about personal training sessions. The receptionist, a young woman with perfectly styled hair and a smile that could power a small city, directed me to the weight room. Austin was with a client, some guy in his 40s who was clearly paying premium rates to have Austin count his repetitions and provide motivation. When Austin saw me approaching, his face went pale. "Nick," he said, abandoning his client mid-set. "What are you doing here?" "I want to talk to you about my wife." "Look, man, I know you're upset, but this isn't the place." "Actually, this is exactly the place." I pulled out my phone and opened the voice recorder app. "I want to give you a chance to tell your side of the story." Austin looked around nervously. We were attracting attention from other gym members, several of whom had their own phones out and were clearly recording our conversation. "I don't have anything to say to you." "Really? Because I have a lot to say about you." I raised my voice slightly, just enough to carry across the weight room. "For instance, I'd love to hear you explain to your clients how a fitness trainer who preaches about commitment and integrity has been having an affair with a married woman for 4 months. Keep your voice down." "Why? Ashamed of something?" Austin's client, who had been listening to our conversation with growing interest, stepped closer. "Is this true, Austin? You're sleeping with someone's wife?" "It's complicated," Austin said. "No," I said. "It's really not complicated at all. You've been having an affair with my wife. She's been lying to me about working late so she can meet you at hotels. You've been texting about how clueless and predictable I am. Pretty straightforward situation." By now, we had an audience of about 20 people, all of them gym members who followed Austin on social media and had been subjected to his daily motivational posts about honor, commitment, and being a champion. "Austin," said a woman in yoga pants, "is this the married woman you've been posting cryptic messages about? The one you said was worth fighting for?" Austin's face was getting redder by the second. "This is a private matter." "Not anymore, it's not," I said. "See, the thing about having an affair is that it stops being private the moment you involve other people's lives in your drama." I pulled out a printed copy of one of Austin's text messages to Erica and read it aloud. "Can't wait to see you tomorrow. Nick working late again? Poor guy has no idea what he's missing." The weight room had gone completely quiet except for the sound of phones recording and the occasional gasp from Austin's audience. "What he doesn't know won't hurt him," I continued, reading from another message. "That's what my wife texted back, about me, her husband." Austin lunged for the paper, but I was ready for him. I stepped back and let him stumble forward, off balance and looking ridiculous in front of his clients. "Don't touch me," I said loudly. "I'm just here to have a conversation." "You're here to humiliate me." "No, Austin. You humiliated yourself. I'm just providing the documentation." I looked around at the crowd of gym members, all of them staring at Austin like they were seeing him for the first time. "This is your motivational trainer," I said. "The guy who posts about being a champion, about never giving up, about integrity and commitment. This is the man who's been having an affair with my wife while I was working late to pay for the life she's been living with both of us." Austin's client shook his head in disgust. "Man, that's messed up. I'm canceling my sessions." "Me too," said the woman in yoga pants. "This is not the kind of person I want training me." Other voices joined in, a chorus of disappointment and disgust from people who had looked up to Austin as a role model and were now seeing him as exactly what he was, a selfish, shallow cheater who preyed on married women. Austin looked around desperately, realizing that his carefully constructed image was crumbling in real time. "You can't do this to me," he said. "I'm not doing anything to you," I replied. "I'm just telling the truth. You're the one who chose to have an affair with my wife. You're the one who chose to mock me in text messages. You're the one who chose to build your brand on values you don't actually have." I walked toward the exit, then turned back. "Oh, and Austin? You might want to check your Instagram comments. Turns out your followers have some pretty strong opinions about cheaters." I left him standing in the middle of his ruined kingdom, surrounded by former admirers who were already pulling out their phones to share the story with their own social media networks. By the time I got back to Jay's bar, the video of our confrontation was already going viral on Boston social media. Austin's Instagram account was being flooded with comments calling him out for his hypocrisy, and several local fitness influencers had shared the story with their own followers. But the best part was yet to come. That evening, Erica's PR firm was hosting their annual client appreciation event at one of Boston's most prestigious hotels. It was the kind of gathering where image was everything, and scandal was social poison. Thanks to Tasha's inside information, I knew exactly when and where to find Erica at her most vulnerable. It was time for the next phase of Operation Transparency. The Fairmont Copley Plaza was the kind of hotel where Boston's elite went to see and be seen. Crystal chandeliers, marble floors, and the sort of understated luxury that whispered rather than shouted about money. It was also where Hartwell PR held their annual client appreciation event, a gathering of the city's most influential business leaders, politicians, and media personalities. In other words, it was the perfect place to destroy someone's professional reputation. I stood across the street at 6:30 p.m., watching well-dressed people stream into the hotel lobby. Erica would be inside, playing the role of successful PR executive, schmoozing with clients and pretending her personal life wasn't currently exploding across social media. Tasha had texted me an hour earlier. "She's here, pretending everything is normal, wearing the red dress you bought her for Christmas. The irony is perfect." I checked my phone one more time. The Austin gym video had been viewed over 10,000 times in the past 6 hours. The comments were brutal, and several of his clients had posted their own videos explaining why they were canceling their memberships. His carefully crafted fitness influencer career was in freefall, but Austin was just the opening act. Tonight was about Erica. I walked into the hotel lobby carrying a leather portfolio and wearing my best suit, the navy blue one Erica had picked out for me last year because she said it made me look serious and trustworthy. She was right. I looked exactly like the kind of man people would believe when he told them the truth about his cheating wife. The client appreciation event was being held in the hotel's grand ballroom. I could hear the buzz of conversation and clinking glasses as I approached the entrance, where a young woman with a clipboard was checking names against a guest list. "Good evening," I said, flashing my most charming smile. "Nick Fenwick. I'm Erica Fenwick's husband." The woman scanned her list, looking confused. "I'm sorry. I don't see your name here. That's strange. Erica specifically told me to meet her here. She's one of the senior account managers at Hartwell PR. Oh, of course. Mrs. Fenwick is inside. I'm sure it was just an oversight. Please go right in. The ballroom was elegant and crowded, filled with the kind of people who made decisions that affected thousands of other people's lives. I spotted Erica immediately. She was near the bar, laughing at something a distinguished older man was saying while holding a glass of champagne. She looked beautiful, confident, and completely in control. It was almost a shame to ruin it. I made my way through the crowd, stopping occasionally to introduce myself to various guests as Erica Fenwick's husband. Most of them were polite, but clearly had no idea who I was, which confirmed what Tasha had told me about Erica keeping her professional and personal lives separate. Nick? Erica's voice cut through the ambient noise like a knife. She was staring at me from across the room, her face a mask of barely controlled panic. What are you doing here? Supporting my wife at her company event, I said loudly enough for nearby guests to hear. Isn't that what husbands do? She excused herself from her conversation and hurried over to me, grabbing my arm and trying to steer me toward a quieter corner. You need to leave, she hissed. This is important for my career. I know. That's exactly why I'm here. Before she could respond, I opened my portfolio and pulled out a stack of printed documents. I brought some reading material for your colleagues. I thought they might be interested in learning more about your recent project management skills. Her eyes widened as she recognized the printouts, screenshots of her text conversations with Austin, emails with the divorce lawyer, and photos from their various hotel meetings. Nick, please, don't do this here. Do what? Share information about my wife's work-life balance? I think it's fascinating how you've managed to juggle so many different projects simultaneously. I walked over to the nearest group of guests and introduced myself. Hi, I'm Nick Fenwick, Erica's husband. I don't think we've met. The group consisted of 3 middle-aged professionals who looked like they'd stepped out of a business magazine. They were polite but clearly curious about why Erica looked like she was about to have a panic attack. I was just telling Erica how impressed I am with her time management skills, I continued, handing each of them a printed screenshot. For instance, she's been able to maintain a relationship with her personal trainer while still keeping up with all her client responsibilities. One of the men looked at the printout, his expression changing from polite interest to shock. Are these text messages? Oh, yes. Erica's been very thorough in documenting her extracurricular activities. Look at this one. She managed to schedule a hotel meeting with Austin right between client calls. Very efficient. Nick, stop. Erica's voice was getting higher, attracting attention from other guests. Stop what? I'm just proud of my wife's multitasking abilities. Here, let me show you this email she sent to a divorce lawyer while she was supposed to be working on the Henderson campaign. The woman in the group, who I recognized as one of Hartwell PR's major clients, looked at Erica with disgust. You were planning a divorce while handling our account? It's not what it looks like, Erica said desperately. Actually, it's exactly what it looks like, I said, pulling out more documents. She's been planning to divorce me for over a month while continuing to live in my condo, spend my money, and lie about working late so she could meet her boyfriend. By now, we had attracted a crowd. Mr. Phelps, Erica's boss, pushed through the gathering group of onlookers, his face red with embarrassment and anger. What is going on here? He demanded. I'm just sharing some information about Erica's recent project management, I said, handing him a complete set of printouts. I thought you might be interested in how she's been spending her time over the past few months. Phelps scanned the documents, his expression growing darker with each page. Erica, is this true? Have you been having an affair while representing our clients? Mr. Phelps, I can explain. She can explain how she's been using company time to conduct a personal relationship, I interrupted. She can explain how she's been lying to her husband while planning a divorce, designed to take half of everything he owns. She can explain how she's been laughing about it with her friends while pretending to be a devoted wife in public. The crowd was growing larger, and I could see phones being pulled out to record the confrontation. Erica's carefully constructed professional image was crumbling in real time, in front of the most important people in her career. "This is a private matter," Phelps said, trying to regain control of the situation. "No, it's not," I said. The moment Erica decided to use her professional connections to facilitate her affair, it became a professional matter. The moment she started lying to clients about her availability while she was meeting her boyfriend, it became a professional matter. I pulled out one final document, a hotel receipt from last week, the same day Erica had told both me and her boss that she was sick with food poisoning. "She wasn't sick," I announced to the crowd. "She was at the Marriott with Austin Drake, her personal trainer. While you were covering for her at work, and I was bringing her soup at home, she was having an affair." The silence in the ballroom was deafening. Erica stood frozen in the middle of the crowd, her face pale and her hands shaking. "Erica," Phelps said quietly, "clean out your desk tomorrow morning." "Mr. Phelps, please, you're fired. Effective immediately." The crowd began to disperse, guests returning to their conversations with the uncomfortable energy of people who had witnessed something they wished they hadn't. But I could see them pulling out their phones, texting, calling, sharing the story with their own networks. By tomorrow morning, everyone in Boston's professional community would know exactly what kind of person Erica Fenwick really was. She stood alone in the middle of the ballroom, still holding her champagne glass, looking like she couldn't quite believe what had just happened. "You destroyed my career," she whispered. "No," I said, putting the documents back in my portfolio. "You destroyed your career. I just provided the documentation." I walked toward the exit, then turned back one more time. "Oh, and Erica, you might want to start looking for a new place to live. The condo lease is up for renewal next month, and I've decided not to extend it. You can't kick me out. I live there too." "Actually, I can. It's my condo. My name on the deed, my name on the mortgage, my name on all the utilities. You're just a guest who's overstayed her welcome." I left her standing there, surrounded by the wreckage of her professional reputation, while I walked out into the Boston night, feeling lighter than I had in months. My phone started buzzing immediately. Text messages from Tasha, Jay, and even some people I didn't recognize who had witnessed the confrontation and wanted to congratulate me on what they were calling the most epic public breakup in Boston history. But the message that made me smile was from Liv. "Austin just called me crying. Apparently he lost 12 clients today, and the gym is considering terminating his contract. Want to celebrate?" I typed back, "Meet me at Jay's in an hour. Drinks are on me." As I walked through the streets of Boston, I realized something had fundamentally changed. For months, I'd been living in a world where I was the victim, the fool, the guy who didn't know what everyone else knew about his wife. Now I was something else entirely. I was the guy who had fought back, who had refused to be humiliated quietly, who had turned his wife's weapons against her and won. It felt good. Better than good. It felt like justice. But I wasn't done yet. Erica still had one more lesson to learn about underestimating the quiet, predictable husband who paid all the bills. Tomorrow, she was going to discover just how unpredictable I could be. I woke up Thursday morning in my own bed for the first time in 3 days. The condo felt different, cleaner somehow, like the air itself was less toxic without Erica's lies polluting it. She hadn't come home the night before, which meant she was probably staying with one of her friends, or, more likely, with Austin. My phone showed 43 missed calls and over 100 text messages. The story of last night's confrontation had spread through Boston's social and professional networks like wildfire. Videos of Erica's public humiliation were being shared on every platform, and the hashtag #EricaExposed was trending locally. But the message that caught my attention was from an unknown number. "Mr. Fenwick, This is Margaret Tan from Tan and Associates. I represent your wife in matrimonial matters. We need to discuss settlement terms immediately. A divorce lawyer. Erica was moving fast, probably hoping to salvage whatever she could from the wreckage of her master plan. I called the number back. Mr. Fenwick, came a crisp, professional voice. Thank you for returning my call. I think we can resolve this matter quickly and amicably. I'm listening. My client is prepared to be reasonable about asset division, given the circumstances. She's willing to accept a modest settlement in exchange for a quick, quiet divorce. I almost laughed. Define modest. $50,000 plus she keeps the car and her personal belongings. And what do I get out of this generous offer? You avoid a lengthy, expensive legal battle. You also avoid having your private matters discussed in court proceedings that become public record. Ms. Tan, I think you misunderstand the situation. I'm not the one who's afraid of public scrutiny. Mr. Fenwick, my client made mistakes, but dragging this through the courts will be painful for everyone involved. Will it? Because from where I'm sitting, it looks like your client has already lost her job, her reputation, and most of her friends. What exactly does she have left to lose? Silence on the other end. I'll tell you what, I continued. I'll give your client exactly what she's entitled to under Massachusetts law. She can have half of everything we acquired during our marriage. That's very reasonable. Which is nothing. The condo was mine before we married. The car is in my name. The furniture was mostly mine. The joint bank accounts contain money I earned. So she can have half of nothing, which is still nothing. Mr. Fenwick, that's not how marital property law works. Actually, it's exactly how it works when one spouse has been systematically deceiving the other while planning to commit fraud. I have documentation of your client's intent to manipulate the divorce proceedings for financial gain. I have evidence of her adultery. I have proof that she's been lying about her contributions to our household expenses. Another pause. What do you want? Ms. Tan asked. I want your client to sign divorce papers acknowledging that she has no claim to any of my assets. I want her to vacate my condo within 72 hours, and I want her to publicly acknowledge her adultery. That's completely unreasonable. Then we'll see each other in court. I'm sure the judge will be very interested in reviewing the evidence of your client's 4-month affair and her premeditated plan to defraud me in divorce proceedings. I hung up and immediately called Jay. How do you feel about having a roommate for a few days? I asked. Erica's moving in with me? Hard pass. No, idiot. I'm moving in with you, temporarily. Why? Because Erica's going to try to get back into the condo, and I want to make sure she understands that she's no longer welcome there. An hour later, I was packing a suitcase while Jay installed new security cameras around my condo. If Erica wanted to play legal games, I was going to make sure I had documentation of everything she did. As I was folding clothes, my phone rang, Erica's ringtone. Hello, wife? Nick, we need to talk. This has gone too far. Has it? Because I feel like we're just getting started. I lost my job. My career is ruined. People are calling me horrible names on social media. Isn't that enough? Enough for what? Enough revenge. You've made your point. I hurt you, and now you've hurt me back. Can't we call it even? I sat down on the bed we'd shared for 2 years, looking around at the bedroom that had been the scene of so many lies. Erica, do you remember what you told Austin about me? That I was predictable, that I saw what I wanted to see, that I'd never figure out what you were doing? I was angry. I didn't mean it. You meant every word. You thought I was weak, stupid, and pathetic. You thought you could use me as your personal ATM while you had your fun with your boyfriend. That's not true. It's exactly true. I have the text messages to prove it. Nick, please, I'm sorry, I'll do anything to make this right. Anything? Yes. Then sign the divorce papers your lawyer is preparing. Take nothing except your personal belongings. Move out of my condo. And leave me alone. I can't do that. I have nowhere to go. I lost my job. You should have thought about that before you decided to have an affair. Nick, I love you. The words hung in the air like a bad smell. After everything she'd done, everything she'd said, all the lies and manipulation and casual cruelty, she was still trying to manipulate me with declarations of love. I could feel the room close in around us. Four walls that had once held comfort now felt like the walls of an interrogation room. The lamp on the side table threw a sickly pool of light across the sofa where she sat, mascara tracks still visible on her cheeks, the remnants of a performance she hoped would buy her time. Her voice was small and trembling when she spoke, the practiced cadence of someone who'd rehearsed explanations and apologies until the words sounded like costumes. But I wasn't interested in costumes anymore. No, you don't, I said, my voice low and steady, the kind that carries when you've decided there's no turning back. You love what I provided for you. The financial security, the nice condo, the comfortable life. You love having someone reliable to fall back on while you chase excitement with other men. She flinched as if I'd struck her. That's not fair, she said, the defense as rehearsed as the apology. Fair? I repeated, incredulous. You want to talk about fair? Was it fair when you lied to me for 4 months? Was it fair when you spent our money on hotels with your boyfriend? Was it fair when you laughed about how clueless I was with your friends? Her hands clenched in her lap. She had that look of someone reaching for a corner of truth to hang on to and not finding it. I made mistakes. You made choices. I cut in gently, but with iron underneath. Every lie was a choice. Every hotel meeting was a choice. Every text message mocking me was a choice. Her voice cracked into a sob. I could hear the sound change from a plea to a performance, sobs timed to be convincing. But the sound didn't move me the way it once would have. There used to be a reflex, a collapse inside me at the sound of her distress, a rush of protective instinct that would soften the edges of my anger. That reflex was gone. I'd learned too much about who she really was to be manipulated by tears that looked engineered to manipulate the narrative. Listen, Erica, I said, and the name felt foreign in my mouth now, detached from all the intimacy it once carried. I'm going to ask you one more time. Are you going to sign the divorce papers and move out voluntarily? Her eyes flicked up, furious and terrified both, an ugly combination. And if I don't? She whispered, the bravado thin. Then we'll do this the hard way, I said. I laid out the options precisely, clinically, because she deserved to hear everything in full. It means I'll file for divorce on grounds of adultery. It means I'll subpoena all your text messages, emails, and social media accounts. It means I'll depose all your friends who knew about the affair. It means I'll make sure every detail of your deception becomes part of the public record. Her mouth opened and closed like a fish. You wouldn't, she said, as if the shock of being called to account could turn the tide, as if the consequences would evaporate in the face of her hurt. Erica, I just destroyed your career in front of a room full of Boston's business elite, I reminded her, voice flat. I exposed your boyfriend as a fraud in front of his clients and social media followers. What makes you think I wouldn't follow through on this? That was the point she'd never understood. Once the veil lifts, the apparatus of truth is ruthless. She had spent months operating as if consequences were for other people. I wasn't other people. I had the receipts now, the threads of messages, the hotel confirmations, the bank transfers, everything that turned suspicion into provable facts. The evidence wasn't a bluff, it was a hammer. A long silence stretched between us, the kind that records tend to miss, the ambient now of a relationship unspooling. She sniffed and bent her head, deliberating, calculating. I need time to think, she said at last, a standard stalling tactic. I gave her a window, but not a long one. You have 24 hours. After that, I file papers, and this gets much worse for you. It wasn't a threat, so much as a timetable. People who live on manipulation rely on ambiguity, A precise countdown strips that away and forces a decision. I hung up my phone with a sense of finality. The packing in my closet now felt symbolic. Boxes, neatly folded, moving my life from shared space into solitary order. Jay had been there, practical and merciless in the kindest possible way. He'd come over earlier that afternoon to help with the camera installation, showing up with tools, spare screws, and the kind of amused sympathy only a friend who's seen you at low points can offer. Motion sensors, audio recording, cloud backup, he said now, running through the checklist as if he were auditioning for an overqualified security company. He tapped the app on his phone. The live feed blinked on the screen, showing the condo's entryway from an angle that took in the front door and the living room. If she tries to break in or steal anything, we'll have it all documented. Perfect, I said. The word felt smaller than usual, but it carried a weight of relief. Documentation was a kind of armor. It would keep her from delegitimizing my claims with performance or tears. It would also protect me from late-night rationalizations and accusations of vindictiveness. The truth, recorded, reduces the chance of revisionist histories. Jay's posture shifted, his tough exterior softening at the edges. He looked at me with something like approval, maybe pride. You know, I never thought I'd say this, but I'm actually proud of you. For what? I asked, because it felt like praise from the wrong place. Victories tasted strange when they were tempered with loss. For fighting back, for refusing to be a victim, for showing that nice guys don't have to finish last. The words hung there, simple and unexpected, and for a moment I let them in. They were small consolation and a strange benediction. Jay's compliment wasn't about winning or vengeance. It was about reclaiming dignity. In the days that followed, that idea, dignity reclaimed, would be the lodestar that guided me through paperwork, through lawyers, through the nasty procedural rituals of divorce. It would be the quiet thing I held on to when friends took sides and the public pretended not to notice. But that evening, with the cameras blinking their small red lights like mechanical witnesses and my suitcase half packed by the door, I let myself feel something I hadn't permitted in a while. A brittle, steady sense of agency. It wasn't joy. It wasn't triumph. It was the clear-eyed acceptance of a man who'd been pushed too far and decided to push back on his own terms. Outside the window, the city muted itself for the night. Headlights passed, life rolled on in its oblivious way, and inside that apartment, everything that had been propped up by habit and half-truths began to feel precarious. There were practicalities to handle, lawyers to call, papers to sign, a plan to execute, but there was also a kind of psychological tidying that had to happen, an interior sorting where I decided which parts of my past I would carry forward and which I would leave. The packing box on the couch became a kind of ritualized severing, the framed photographs, the silly souvenirs, the little tokens of shared time, the things that felt lighter once they were contained. Jay clapped the case of the security system shut with a small, final click. "All right," he said, standing and stretching. "You need anything, me, a pizza, another installation, call, or I'll just show up with a crowbar and moral support." I laughed, a sharp sound that was half relief and half the recognition that this was absurdly domestic, revenge logistics and pizza deliveries. "Thanks," I said. "I appreciate it." He slung an arm over my shoulder in the easy, brotherly way he always did, the familiar pressure steadier than any speech. "You're doing the right thing, Nick. You got this." Maybe I did. Maybe this wasn't elegant. Maybe it wouldn't look noble in the retelling. There would be gossip, and there would be sympathies misallocated. There would also be a messy, necessary unraveling. The important part, I told myself, was that it would be done honestly, publicly, without lies or performative victimhood. Tomorrow would be about the lawyer and the papers and the slow, grinding work of making this official. Tonight, though, there was a small, private victory. I had chosen action over paralysis, truth over comforting fiction. I had set boundaries, named the conduct I would no longer tolerate, and given conditions that made it impossible for her to weasel out of responsibility with tears or clever framing. I picked up a beer from the fridge, opened it, and sat down on the couch across from the half-packed boxes. The condo felt different, cleaner in a strange way, the air less heavy. Outside, a siren wailed in the distance, and somewhere a party continued that had no bearing on the small, concrete decision my life had become. I turned the camera's feed off on Jay's phone, stood, and tossed my jacket into a bag. For a ridiculous second, I almost imagined a future where this was a story with a tidy moral. But then I thought of the receipts, the messages, the nights of lies, and the image of my life being edited by someone else. No tidy ending would come easy, not for a while. Jay gave me one last look, half smile, half warning. "Don't let her gaslight you when this gets messy," he said. "She'll try." "I know," I replied. I had already steeled myself for the versions of the truth she would try to sell. That was the reason for the cameras, for the paperwork, for Jay's blunt loyalty. It was why my voice had been steady when I'd given her that 24-hour deadline. He patted my shoulder and left, the door closing with a soft click that sounded absurdly like a punctuation mark. I sat there for a long time in the quiet, listening to the small noises of a life that had been rearranged. When I finally turned off the lamp and climbed into the guest room bed, sleep came not because I was carefree, but because exhaustion brings a kind of mercy. I slept, and when I woke, the first thing I did was check the phone to see how many hours remained on the clock I'd set for her decision. Then I began the day that would change everything by refusing to be the man who accepted betrayal in silence. The last thing Jay said before he left echoed in my head, a strangely warm epitaph for the person I had been, and for the one I was trying to become. For fighting back, for refusing to be a victim, for showing that nice guys don't have to finish last. I looked around the condo one more time. 2 years of marriage, 4 years of relationship, and it was ending with security cameras and divorce lawyers. "Jay, do you think I'm being too harsh?" He looked at me like I'd just asked if water was wet. "Nick, she cheated on you for 4 months. She lied to your face every single day. She spent your money on hotels with her boyfriend. She mocked you to her friends. She planned to divorce you and take half of everything you own. And when you caught her, she tried to minimize it as just a kiss. So that's a no? That's a hell no. If anything, you're being too easy on her." My phone buzzed. A text from Liv. "Austin just posted a long apology on Instagram. Very dramatic. Want to see?" I opened Instagram and found Austin's post. It was a long, rambling confession about making mistakes, learning from consequences, and asking for forgiveness. The comments section was brutal. Hundreds of people calling him out for cheating, lying, and trying to play victim after getting caught. But the most interesting comment came from someone named a Boston fitness guru. "This is what happens when fake influencers get exposed. Austin Drake is done in this city." I showed the comment to Jay. "Looks like Austin's career is officially over." "Good. What about Erica?" Before I could answer, my phone rang. Tasha. "Nick, you need to see this. Erica just posted something on Facebook." I opened Facebook and found Erica's post, published 20 minutes earlier. "I want to address the rumors and misinformation that have been spread about me over the past few days. Yes, I made mistakes in my marriage. Yes, I handled things poorly. But I am not the monster that some people are making me out to be. I am a human being who made human mistakes, and I don't deserve the harassment and public humiliation I've been subjected to. I'm asking for privacy and understanding as I work to rebuild my life." The post had already received dozens of comments, most of them unsympathetic. "She's trying to control the narrative," Tasha said, "playing the victim card. Let her. The evidence speaks for itself." "There's something else. She's been calling around to mutual friends, trying to get them to pressure you into backing down. She's telling people you've lost your mind, that you're obsessed with revenge, that she's afraid of what you might do next. Is it working? With some people, yeah. The ones who don't know the whole story are starting to feel sorry for her. I thought about that for a moment. Erica was good at playing victim. It was one of her most refined skills. She could make people believe that she was the injured party, that I was the unstable aggressor, that this whole situation was just a misunderstanding blown out of proportion. Tasha, how many people have seen the actual evidence? The text messages, the hotel receipts, the emails to the divorce lawyer? Maybe 50 people. Most of the story is spreading through gossip and social media posts. Then it's time to make sure everyone sees the complete picture. What do you have in mind? I looked at Jay, who was grinning like he knew exactly what I was thinking. It's time for phase 3, I said. Which is? Total transparency. If Erica wants to play victim, she can do it with all the facts on the table. That evening, I created a website called The Truth About Erica Fenwick. It was simple, clean, and comprehensive. A complete timeline of her affair, supported by screenshots, photos, emails, and witness statements from her own friends. I included everything: the hotel receipts, the text messages mocking me, the emails to the divorce lawyer, the photos from her secret meetings with Austin, and statements from Tasha and other friends who had witnessed her bragging about the affair. By midnight, the website had been viewed over 1,000 times and shared across multiple social media platforms. The narrative was shifting from poor Erica being harassed by her crazy ex-husband to, wow, she really did all of this. My phone rang at 12:30 a.m. Erica, you created a website about me? I created a website about the truth. You just happen to be the subject. This is harassment. It's defamation. I'm going to sue you. For what? Publishing factual information that you provided through your own text messages and emails? You can't do this to me. Erica, I'm not doing anything to you. I'm simply making sure that people have access to accurate information when they form opinions about our situation. Take it down. No. Nick, please. This will follow me for the rest of my life. Yes, it will. Just like your lies would have followed me if I hadn't fought back. She was crying again, but this time it sounded different. Desperate rather than manipulative. What do you want from me? She whispered. I want you to sign the divorce papers. I want you to move out of my condo, and I want you to leave me alone. And if I do that, you'll take down the website? No. The website stays up, but I'll stop adding new content. That's not fair. Fair was when we got married and promised to be faithful to each other. Fair was when I worked late to pay for our life while you were honest about your feelings. Fair was when I trusted you and you told me the truth. I can't sign those papers. I'll have nothing. You'll have exactly what you brought to our marriage, which is what you should have. Nick, I'm begging you. The papers will be ready tomorrow morning. You have until noon to sign them. After that, I file for contested divorce, and this gets much, much worse for you. I hung up and turned to Jay, who had been listening to the entire conversation. Think she'll sign? He asked. She doesn't have a choice. She's lost her job, her reputation, and most of her friends. The only thing she has left is the hope that this will all go away if she cooperates. And will it? Go away, I mean? I looked at my laptop, where the website statistics showed steady traffic and social media shares. The internet is forever, Jay. She made choices that have permanent consequences. Do you feel bad about that? I considered the question. 3 days ago, I would have felt terrible about destroying someone's life, even someone who had betrayed me. But 3 days ago, I was still the predictable, trusting husband who saw what he wanted to see. No, I said finally. I don't feel bad at all. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. This is Austin. We need to talk. Tomorrow, 2 p.m., the coffee shop on Boylston Street. I showed the message to Jay. You going? He asked. Wouldn't miss it. Want backup? No. I think Austin and I need to have a private conversation about boundaries. Be careful. Desperate people do stupid things. I thought about that as I got ready for bed in Jay's spare room. Erica was desperate, Austin was desperate, and desperate people were indeed unpredictable. But I was no longer the predictable one in this equation. Tomorrow, Austin was going to learn exactly how unpredictable I'd become. The coffee shop on Boylston Street was busy with the usual Friday afternoon crowd, students, business people, and tourists, all seeking their caffeine fix in the heart of Boston. I arrived 15 minutes early and chose a table near the back, where I could see the entire room and all the exits. Austin walked in at exactly 2 p.m., looking nothing like the confident fitness influencer I'd confronted at his gym. His hair was disheveled, his clothes wrinkled, and he had the hollow-eyed look of someone who hadn't slept in days. He spotted me immediately and walked over, sliding into the chair across from me without ordering anything. "You look terrible," I said. "Thanks to you. Thanks to your choices. I just provided documentation." Austin leaned forward, his voice low and urgent. "You need to stop this. The website, the social media posts, all of it. You're destroying both of our lives." "I'm destroying your life? That's interesting. Tell me, how exactly am I responsible for your decision to have an affair with my wife?" "Look, I know what we did was wrong. What you did was wrong. Let's be precise about responsibility here." Austin ran his hands through his hair. "Fine. What I did was wrong. But this public humiliation thing you're doing, it's gone too far." "Has it? Because from my perspective, it's gone exactly as far as it needed to go. I lost my job, Nick. The gym fired me yesterday. I've lost most of my clients. My social media following is dropping by hundreds every day. People are posting my address online, calling me at all hours, showing up at my apartment. Sounds like consequences. I'm getting harassment threats. Someone threw a brick through my car window. This isn't justice, it's a witch hunt." I studied his face, looking for any sign of genuine remorse or understanding of what he'd done. All I saw was self-pity and anger. "Austin, do you know what my wife said about me in her text messages to you?" "Nick." "She said I was predictable, boring, clueless. She said I was so stupid that I'd never figure out what was happening right under my nose. She didn't mean it. She meant every word, and you agreed with her. You both thought I was some pathetic loser who deserved to be lied to and cheated on. That's not true." I pulled out my phone and scrolled to one of the screenshots I'd saved. "Here's what you texted her after your third hotel meeting. Poor Nick, working late again to pay for his wife's fun. Guy has no idea he's married to a woman who actually knows how to have a good time." Austin's face went red. I was trying to impress her. By mocking her husband? By celebrating the fact that you were both lying to me? "I made mistakes. You made choices. Every text message was a choice. Every hotel meeting was a choice. Every time you laughed about how clueless I was, that was a choice. Okay, fine. I made bad choices. But this revenge campaign of yours is ruining my entire life." "Good." The word hung in the air between us. Austin stared at me like he couldn't believe what he'd heard. "Good?" "You heard me. I'm glad your life is ruined. I'm glad you lost your job. I'm glad your reputation is destroyed. I'm glad people see you for exactly what you are. Jesus, Nick, I knew you were angry, but this is psychotic." "Psychotic? You want to know what's psychotic?" Psychotic is having an affair with someone's wife and then acting surprised when there are consequences. Psychotic is thinking you can destroy someone's marriage and then ask them to protect you from the fallout. Austin leaned back in his chair, his expression shifting from pleading to hostile. "You know what? Maybe Erica was right about you. Maybe you are a pathetic loser who can't handle the fact that his wife wanted someone better." "There it is," I said, smiling. "The real Austin. The guy who thinks sleeping with married women makes him better than their husbands. At least I didn't have to create a website and social media campaign to feel like a man." "No, you just had to seduce a married woman to feel like a man. Much more admirable." Austin stood up abruptly, his chair scraping against the floor. Several other customers looked over at us. "This isn't over. he said. Yes, it is. You're finished in Boston. Your career is over, your reputation is destroyed, and everyone knows exactly what kind of person you are. There's nothing left for you here. I could make this very difficult for you. How? By telling people I exposed your affair? By complaining that I published your own text messages? By whining that there were consequences for your actions? Austin's hands were clenched into fists, and for a moment I thought he might actually try to hit me. But he was smart enough to realize that assaulting me in a crowded coffee shop would only make his situation worse. You're going to regret this, he said. The only thing I regret is not seeing through both of you sooner. He stormed out of the coffee shop, leaving me alone with my coffee and a deep sense of satisfaction. Austin was broken, Erica was desperate, and I was finally in control of my own life. My phone buzzed with a text from Erica. I signed the papers. I'll be out of the condo by Sunday. I typed back, good choice. But even as I sent the message, I knew this wasn't really over. Desperate people do desperate things, and both Erica and Austin were running out of options. I was right to be cautious. That night, I was at Jay's bar celebrating what felt like the end of a very long nightmare when my phone rang. The caller ID showed building security. Mr. Fenwick, this is Dave Evans from your building's security desk. We have a situation here. What kind of situation? Your wife is in the lobby with 2 other people demanding access to your unit. She says she has a right to retrieve her belongings, but she's not on the approved access list anymore. Who's with her? A young man and an older woman. They're all pretty agitated. Austin and Erica's mother. This was about to get interesting. I'll be right there, I said. Jay looked up from the glass he was cleaning. Trouble? Erica's at my building with Austin and her mother. They want access to the condo. Want backup? Actually, yes. Bring your phone. I have a feeling we're going to want to document this. 20 minutes later, Jay and I walked into my building's lobby to find Erica, Austin, and Mrs. Carmichael in heated discussion with Dave Evans, the night security guard. Erica was wearing jeans and a sweatshirt, the first time I'd seen her dressed down in months. She looked exhausted, desperate, and furious. Nick! Mrs. Carmichael spotted me first. Thank goodness. Please talk sense into my daughter. This whole situation has gotten completely out of hand. Has it? I looked at the 3 of them standing there like some kind of intervention committee. What are you all doing here? We're here to collect Erica's belongings, Austin said. She has a right to her personal property. Actually, she doesn't. She signed divorce papers this afternoon waiving any claim to property in my condo. Her clothes, Nick, Mrs. Carmichael said. Her personal items. Surely you're not going to be petty about her clothes. I'm not being petty about anything, but I'm also not letting any of you into my home. It's our home, Erica said. I lived there for 2 years. You were a guest in my home for 2 years. There's a difference. Dave Evans looked uncomfortable with the family drama playing out in his lobby. Mr. Fenwick, if you want to escort them upstairs to collect personal items, that would be acceptable. No, I said. It wouldn't be acceptable. These people are not welcome in my home. Nick, please, Erica said, and for the first time since this all started, she sounded genuinely broken. I just want my things. My clothes, my photos, my jewelry, things that belong to me. I looked at her for a long moment, remembering the woman I'd married 2 years ago, the woman I'd thought I knew, before I learned about her capacity for deception and cruelty. Your things are packed, I said finally. Dave, can you have them bring down the boxes from storage? What boxes? Erica asked. The boxes I packed with your belongings, clothes, personal items, photos, everything that was actually yours. Dave made a call, and 10 minutes later, 2 maintenance workers appeared with a cart loaded with cardboard boxes. That's it? Mrs. Carmichael asked. 4 boxes. That's everything she brought to the marriage that was actually hers, I said. Turns out when you don't contribute to household expenses, you don't accumulate much property. Erica opened one of the boxes and started going through it. Where's my jewelry? Which jewelry? My grandmother's ring. My pearl necklace. The diamond earrings. The earrings I bought you for our first anniversary? Those aren't yours anymore. The pearl necklace I bought you for your birthday? Also not yours. Your grandmother's ring is in the box marked personal items. You can't keep jewelry you gave me as gifts. Actually, I can. Gifts given during a marriage that's dissolved due to adultery revert to the giver under Massachusetts law. Austin stepped forward. This is ridiculous. You're being vindictive. I'm being legal. There's a difference. Nick, Erica said, tears starting to form. Please, I know I hurt you. I know I made terrible mistakes. But I loved you. I still love you. No, you don't. You love the security I provided. You love having someone reliable to fall back on, but you don't love me. That's not true. Erica, you spent 4 months lying to my face. You used my money to pay for hotels where you met your boyfriend. You mocked me to your friends. You planned to divorce me and take half of everything I owned. That's not love. That's exploitation. Mrs. Carmichael stepped between us. Nicholas, my daughter made mistakes, but this public humiliation campaign you've conducted is cruel and unnecessary. Is it? Because I think it's been very educational. People now know exactly what kind of person your daughter is. She's a human being who made human mistakes. She's a sociopath who got caught. The words came out harsher than I'd intended, but I didn't regret them. Mrs. Carmichael had spent years enabling Erica's behavior, making excuses for her selfishness, and treating me like I was lucky to be married to her precious daughter. How dare you? Mrs. Carmichael said. How dare I what? Tell the truth? Document her lies? Refuse to be victimized quietly? You've destroyed her life. She destroyed her own life. I just made sure everyone could see it happen. Austin moved closer, trying to intimidate me with his size. You need to back off, Nick. This has gone far enough. Or what? You'll sleep with my wife? Oh wait, you already did that. I'll make you regret this. How? By posting workout videos? By flexing at me? By sending threatening text messages? Jay stepped up beside me, phone in hand, clearly recording the confrontation. I wouldn't make threats if I were you, Austin, especially not on camera. Austin noticed the phone and stepped back. This is harassment. This is documentation, Jay said, in case you decide to do something stupid. Erica was crying now, going through her boxes like she was looking for something that wasn't there. Nick, please, I know I don't deserve your forgiveness, but I need your help. I lost my job. I don't have anywhere to live. I don't have any money. You should have thought about that before you decided to have an affair. I made mistakes. You made choices. Every single day for 4 months, you chose to lie to me. You chose to cheat on me. You chose to mock me with your boyfriend. You chose to plan a divorce designed to steal my money. I never meant for it to go this far. You meant for it to go exactly this far. You just thought you wouldn't get caught. Mrs. Carmichael was getting more agitated. Nicholas, you cannot leave my daughter homeless and penniless. I'm not leaving her anything. She's leaving herself homeless and penniless by refusing to take responsibility for her actions. She's your wife. She's my soon-to-be ex-wife who committed adultery and tried to defraud me. The only thing I owe her is a divorce. Austin tried one more time. Nick, man to man. Can't we work something out? Some kind of settlement that lets everyone move on with their lives? I looked at him. This guy who had helped destroy my marriage and was now asking me to help him avoid the consequences. Austin, man to man, you can go straight to hell. The lobby went quiet. Even Dave Evans, who had been trying to stay out of the family drama, was staring at us. I think it's time for you all to leave, I said. Take the boxes, don't come back. If you need to communicate with me, do it through lawyers. Erica looked up from her boxes, mascara running down her cheeks. Nick, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I know you are. You're sorry you got caught. You're sorry there were consequences. You're sorry your plan didn't work. I'm sorry I hurt you. No, you're not. You're sorry I fought back. The maintenance workers helped load the boxes onto a cart and wheeled them out to the parking garage. Austin and Mrs. Carmichael followed, leaving Erica and me alone in the lobby with Dave Evans and Jay. "This is really it?" she asked. "This is how we end?" "This is how you ended it. 4 months ago when you decided to cheat on me. I loved you, Nick. I really did. Maybe you did, in your own way. But it wasn't enough to keep you faithful. It wasn't enough to make you honest. It wasn't enough to stop you from trying to steal my money." She nodded slowly, like she was finally understanding something she'd been avoiding. "What happens now?" she asked. "Now you live with the consequences of your choices, just like I had to live with the consequences of trusting you." Erica walked toward the exit, then turned back one more time. "I hope someday you can forgive me." "I already have," I said. "But forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting, and it doesn't mean pretending this didn't happen." She left then, following Austin and her mother out into the Boston night. I watched through the lobby windows as they loaded her boxes into Austin's car and drove away. "That's it?" Jay asked. "It's over?" "It's over." Dave Evans shook his head. "In 30 years of security work, I've never seen anything like that." "Like what?" "Someone who fought back that hard and won that completely." I looked around the lobby of my building, my home, my life that I'd built and defended. "You know what the funny thing is?" I said to Jay as we walked toward the elevator. "What's that?" She was right about one thing. I was predictable. I was the guy who worked late, paid the bills, and trusted his wife. And now? The elevator doors opened, and we stepped inside. Now I'm the guy who doesn't. As we rode up to my floor, I realized that something fundamental had changed in me over the past week. I wasn't the same person who had sat at his dining room table, burning Paris tickets, while his wife confessed to cheating. That guy had been naive, trusting, and willing to be victimized. This guy was something else entirely. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. Saw the website. "You're my hero, a fellow survivor." Then another. "Thank you for showing that nice guys don't have to finish last." And another. "Your wife got what she deserved. Stay strong." Over the next hour, I received dozens of messages from people who had seen my story and wanted to share their own experiences with cheating spouses, manipulative partners, and the satisfaction of fighting back. I wasn't just Nick Fenwick anymore, the IT guy who got cheated on and humiliated. I was the guy who refused to be a victim, who documented everything, who fought back with intelligence and determination, and who won. It felt good. Better than good. It felt like justice. My phone rang one more time. Erica's number. I almost didn't answer, but curiosity got the better of me. "What?" "I just wanted you to know," she said, her voice barely above a whisper, "that you're not the same person I married." "You're right. I'm not. The Nick I married would never have done this to me. The Nick you married would never have needed to do this to you. I don't know who you are anymore." I looked out the window of my condo at the Boston skyline, at the city where I'd built my career, where I'd thought I'd built my marriage, where I'd learned exactly what I was capable of when pushed too far. "I'm the guy who doesn't get fooled twice," I said. And then I hung up, blocked her number, and got on with the rest of my life. The predictable husband was gone. In his place was someone much more dangerous, a man who had learned exactly how much power he had when he decided to use it.